As world leaders meet in Kyiv today, French President Emmanuel Macron is meeting with President Trump at the White House at this moment. And the meeting comes after European powers were excluded from peace deal talks last week, you may remember. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand joins us now from the White House with more on this. And Natalie, we for a while heard President Trump say he'd be able to end the war in Ukraine quickly. But how are we any closer to that happening today?
Yeah, Errol, good to be with you. Well, we heard from Secretary of State Marco Rubio last week, the president's Secretary of State, that really whether or not Russia is serious about ending this conflict remains to be seen. We'll see in the coming weeks. And as you noted, high-level meetings today between President Trump and the French president. They're on a leadership call with G7 leaders right now, which is still underway. The French president here right now as part of this push by European leaders to make sure that they and Ukraine are at the negotiating table and that Ukraine's interests are taken fully into account, as well, of course, as its security. There has been concern expressed by European allies that these talks between the U.S. and Russia could lead to a less favorable outcome for Ukraine. So obviously, European allies who are concerned about Europe's larger safety here to try to make that case today. The Trump administration and the president, for that matter, stressed that, the U.S. is talking to not only Russia, but its European allies and Ukraine as well.
And we heard from the French president that he, of course, is advocating for Ukraine to be a part of whatever discussions happen to bring peace and create a next phase. And we know that President Trump is meeting with other world leaders this week. I'm curious what Trump wants from them or what he wants to accomplish from these other meetings.
Right. As you noted, the British Prime Minister will be coming here later this week. The French president here now. We're very eager to see what he has to say following this initial meeting with the president. We know that they will have a joint news conference later today, so all ears will be attuned to what happens there. But we know that the U.S., the Trump administration, has been pushing Ukraine to try to give the U.S. access to some rare earth minerals as part of this larger negotiation. We know that the president has repeated that point on multiple occasions, including over the weekend, speaking about this conflict during CPAC. During his remarks there. So we know that that is likely to be part of these talks, again, as the president tries to put pressure on both sides to end the war that Russia started 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I think we do expect a press conference between the U.S. and French president at approximately 2 p.m. Eastern, so we'll see what gets answered there. You and I were speaking earlier this morning on the CBS Morning News about these DOGE cuts to so many agencies, telling people to reply with what they've been up to, otherwise they will be considered resigning. But some agencies telling their staff not to comply. Fill us in on that.
Yeah, we're seeing some really interesting and notable pushback from some of the agency heads, secretaries of these departments saying don't respond to that email, that there's a process internally at these departments for employee reviews and that it shouldn't be coming from the Office of Personnel Management. Among some of the agencies that were pushing back, the president's own newly confirmed FBI director, Kash Patel, as well as the Department of Defense and the State Department, again, telling employees not to respond to that email listing 5 or so accomplishments over the past week. Some labor employment attorneys have also said that those emails may not even be legal. So already heading into this new week, we are seeing a notable pushback by some of these departments as the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk, continue to look for ways to make cuts to the federal workforce.
All right, Natalie Brand with all the latest for us from the White House. Natalie, thank you very much.